Hi everyone! Welcome back to Learn English with Fatima. You may have watched my previous video about restrictive clauses, also called defining relative clauses. If you missed it, you can find it linked in the description box below. Today, we are going to talk about non-restrictive or non-defining relative clauses. Okay, first let's review what a clause is. A clause is a group of words that contain a subject and a verb. They can form a simple sentence or only part of a sentence. Every sentence has a main clause, which is a clause that forms a sentence or makes sense all on its own. For example, the student reads. The student is the subject and reads is the verb. You may remember if you watched my previous video that a relative clause is a clause that gives us more information about the subject of our main clause. A relative clause can be restrictive or non-restrictive. The main difference between the two is that a restrictive relative clause has information that makes the rest of the sentence make sense. A non-restrictive clause is giving us extra information, but the sentence would still make sense if this clause wasn't there. Whew, that was a lot. Let's break this down with lots of examples so that it makes more sense. Here are some non-restrictive relative clauses in sentences. The car, which was green, drove away. I saw Sarah, who I went to school with, at the store. She found my wallet, which I had dropped. We can still say all of these sentences without their relative clauses, and they will make sense. Here's what that would sound like. The car drove away. I saw Sarah at the store. She found my wallet. This is how we know that the relative clauses are non-restrictive. Remember, if they were restrictive and we took out the clause, the sentence would no longer make sense. Okay, let's talk about how to form a non-restrictive relative clause. A non-restrictive relative clause can come in the middle or at the end of a sentence. It is separated from the main clause by commas. If we are talking about a person, we use the pronoun who. And if we are talking about anything else, we use the pronoun which. First, let's look at how the main clause followed by the non-restrictive relative clause looks. So we have the main clause plus a comma plus who or which plus a non-restrictive relative clause. I went shopping with my friend. That's the main clause. Then we add a comma. Then we add which. Then we add our non-restrictive relative clause. Was a lot of fun. So our sentence reads, I went shopping with my friend, which was a lot of fun. Now let's look at the other way we can form a non-restrictive relative clause, by putting it in the middle of the main clause. This is how it will look. A main clause plus a comma plus who or which plus the non-restrictive relative clause plus a comma plus the rest of the main clause. For example, we could have the teacher, which is part of the main clause, then a comma, then who, then our non-restrictive relative clause, which is I had last year, then a comma, then the rest of our main clause, which is gave a test. So the sentence will read, the teacher who I had last year gave a test. Now let's look at some more examples. The house, which was our favorite, was already sold. You see that the non-restrictive relative clause is in the middle of the sentence. Which was our favorite? The sentence, or the main clause, would still make sense without this non-restrictive relative clause. It would read, the house was already sold. Which was our favorite is just adding extra information. The house, which was our favorite, was already sold. Here's another example. I talked to Paul, who had just come back from Spain. The non-restrictive relative clause is at the end of our main clause. I talked to Paul would be fine on its own, but we add who had just come back from Spain for some more information. I ate a turkey sandwich for lunch, which was delicious. Again, I ate a turkey sandwich for lunch is our main clause, and it would make sense on our own, but we add in our non-restrictive relative clause at the end just for some more information, which was delicious. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and feel free to comment below with questions or additional requests for other videos. See you next time. Bye!